3 mistakes older adults make when drinking milk that can shorten lifespan, must know for seniors. Dear friends, have you ever thought that drinking milk every day is the best thing for your body after the age of 60? I used to be like that too. Every morning when I wake up, I pour myself a glass of warm milk, sip it while reading the news, thinking that I am taking care of my health perfectly. But then, during a conversation with an old friend, he is a retired nutritionist in California, I suddenly realized that not everyone who drinks milk is really doing the right thing. Especially when we are at this age. Dear friends, when we are young, our bodies can easily adapt and process all kinds of food. But when we get old, things are no longer as simple as before. The digestive system is weaker, the ability to absorb changes, and especially, what used to be good for us in the past, may not be right now. And the thing to say here is, many elderly people are drinking milk the wrong way, and this does not only cause stomach upset. If it continues for a long time, it can seriously affect our health, alertness, and even longevity. In today's story, we will look back at the common mistakes that many of us are unintentionally making every day. I will share gently, like old friends sitting over a cup of tea, reviewing small but important things. And the first mistake, which I see many relatives and neighbors in my area in Minnesota also make, is drinking milk instead of a main meal. When we were young, when we were busy with work or in a hurry to prepare for a long day, we could skip breakfast and have a glass of milk to fill our stomachs. But at this age, when the body needs more nutrients than ever, drinking milk instead of a main meal is no different from unintentionally cutting nutrition. I remember a friend named Margaret who lives in Denver. She's in her 70s, healthy and sharp, but a few years ago she wasn't. She would skip breakfast, just drink a glass of milk and go for a walk in the park. I thought milk had all the nutrients, she used to tell me. But as time went on, Margaret became more dizzy, tired easily, had trouble sleeping, and even lost weight for no apparent reason. It wasn't until she went to the doctor that the doctor explained that a glass of milk doesn't provide enough energy, protein, fiber, or vitamins for seniors. It's just a small part of the bigger nutritional picture. Milk is high in calcium, yes, but it has almost no fiber, little protein for our age, and hardly enough good fats or B vitamins that our brains need to stay alert all day. If the elderly only rely on milk and skip meals, it is easy to lead to a prolonged lack of energy, making the body weak, memory loss, and immune system weak. Not to mention, the stomach is also stimulated because it does not work properly. A small study at Tufts University in Massachusetts showed that the elderly who have breakfast with only milk often have a deficiency in vitamin B12, vitamin D, and protein more than those who have a full breakfast. This is especially dangerous because B12 and D are two vitamins that greatly affect memory and resistance in the elderly. I know, there are days when we do not want to eat much or no longer feel hungry. But that is when we have to gently remind ourselves that meals are not just for filling up, but for living well. Milk can be a part of breakfast, but it should never be everything. So if you often drink a glass of milk and think that is enough for breakfast, please reconsider. Adding a hard-boiled egg, a few slices of whole wheat bread, or some greens can make a big difference. From the simple breakfast, we move on to another more subtle mistake. That is, many people try to drink milk even though their bodies are lactose intolerant without knowing it. One afternoon, I sat down to chat with George, a former Marine who lives near the Florida coast. He is 75 years old, in generally good health, but he often complains, "Whenever I drink milk, I feel full, uncomfortable, and sometimes my stomach hurts all afternoon." Yet he still drinks milk, because he thinks it is a must-have at his age. In fact, George's experience is not uncommon. According to the National Institutes of Health, NIH, about 30 to 50% of adults over 65 have a reduced ability to digest lactose, a natural sugar found in milk. And the sad thing is, most don't realize it. A lack of lactase, the enzyme needed to digest lactose, leads to symptoms like gas, mild diarrhea, bloating, and nausea. And we often think it's old age bloating, without suspecting that milk is the culprit. Furthermore, if the body is constantly irritated by a food that we continue to consume every day, over time, the intestines will weaken. And a weak intestine leads to poor absorption, an imbalance of beneficial bacteria, and in turn affects the immune system, memory, and mood. Do you find yourself feeling bloated after drinking milk? If so, you don't have to give up milk completely. You can choose lactose-free milk. They are now available in major supermarkets in the US. Or, you can substitute with plant-based milks like almond milk, oat milk, or soy milk, but make sure to choose the ones that are fortified with calcium and vitamin D. I switched to unsweetened almond milk, added a little turmeric powder to my warm glass of milk at night, and found that my stomach felt much lighter. I also try oat milk occasionally, especially on days when I want something light but still warm. Remember, the important thing is not what kind of milk you drink, but whether your body really needs it and accepts it comfortably. Don't force yourself to drink milk every day because of fear of not having enough calcium when your body is silently protesting. And you know, there is another mistake that I see very common. This mistake is related to the time when we choose to drink milk. Some people choose morning, some choose evening, but few people notice that the time of drinking milk can directly affect sleep, blood sugar, and calcium absorption. But that will be something we will explore together in the next part. Second mistake and its unpredictable effects. And as I just shared with you at the end of the previous part, there is a seemingly very small thing, but it has a big impact on health that many of us do not expect: the time of drinking milk. I still remember that day was a quiet afternoon at my daughter's house in San Diego. After dinner, I sat sipping a glass of warm milk as a long-standing habit. At that time, I felt very relaxed and peaceful, thinking that it was good for sleep. But just a few hours later, I was tossing and turning, unable to sleep. I thought it was because of old age, until my daughter, she is a nurse at the local hospital, said bluntly, "Dad, could it be because of milk?" I was surprised. How does milk affect sleep? But it turns out, that's when I discovered that not everyone should drink milk at night, especially those who are having problems with digestion, blood sugar, or sleep. Here is a fact that few people pay attention to: milk contains lactose, and even in small amounts, for older people, especially those who are monitoring their blood sugar, this can cause unwanted fluctuations at night. For people with diabetes or prediabetes, drinking milk before bed can cause a slight increase in blood sugar during sleep, disrupting sleep. The body has to work harder to digest and process that amount of sugar, causing you to sleep poorly or wake up in the middle of the night without knowing why. Additionally, milk contains tryptophan, an amino acid that increases the production of serotonin, which is associated with feelings of relaxation and sleep. Sounds good, right? But the irony is that for tryptophan to work, it needs to be consumed along with carbohydrates, and the ratio in milk is not high enough to actually help us sleep. So the effect that many people expect from drinking milk at night is actually not as strong as we think. I remember my next-door neighbor, named Ronald, a few years older than me, coming over to my house one day and saying, "Whenever I drink milk at night, I feel bloated, like there are rocks in my stomach." After a while of chatting, he tried switching to drinking milk in the morning or mid-afternoon, and after just a few days, his sleep improved significantly. The ideal time to drink milk, according to many nutritionists, is in the morning or between two main meals. At that time, the stomach is not too full, the body is active, so the digestion and absorption of nutrients from milk will be more effective. If you still like to drink in the evening, try drinking less, at least 1 to 2 hours away from bedtime, and monitor your body's reaction. Actually, everyone is different. Some people are suitable, some are not. But the important thing is to listen to your body, instead of always believing what people say is good. Just like my friend Mr. Henry in Oregon, he often drank milk right after dinner, because he thought it was more nutritious. But then he had acid reflux, heartburn, and was tired all night. Only later did he learn that drinking milk after a full meal can increase pressure on the stomach, causing slow digestion, especially for older people with stomach or liver problems. So, we have gone through the first two mistakes: using milk instead of main meals and drinking milk at the wrong time. Both are very common, but fortunately, both can be easily overcome if we understand and adjust in time. However, there is another mistake, arguably the most serious, and also the most overlooked, which is using the wrong type of milk or drinking too much without paying attention to the ingredients. This is not just a story about fresh milk, condensed milk, or powdered milk. It is a story about the sugar content, saturated fat, and additives hidden in the glass of milk that we still think is healthy every day. One day, my wife and I went to the supermarket in Seattle, saw her pick up a carton of vanilla-flavored milk, smiling, "It's delicious, honey, drink it like dessert." I looked at the ingredients on the back of the carton and was startled, more than 16 grams of sugar for each small cup. And if we drink it every day, it won't be long before the sugar buildup becomes a threat to our heart, blood sugar, and even our memory. There are many types of milk that seem healthy, but are actually high in sugar, saturated fat, or flavorings that we older people shouldn't consume too often. Especially with baby milk or energy-enhanced milks that are designed for people who need to gain weight or exercise vigorously. And don't forget one important thing, milk is not the only source of calcium, nor is it the best source for everyone. A large Harvard study found that people who drink too much milk, that is, more than 3 glasses a day, have a higher risk of bone and joint problems and cardiovascular disease. This may sound counterintuitive, but it's true, because the calcium in milk, if not balanced with vitamin D, vitamin K2, and magnesium, may not be properly incorporated into the bones and may even accumulate in the walls of blood vessels. At this point, I just want to share with you one thing: milk is not bad, but if used incorrectly, the consequences are not small. We do not need to completely give up milk, nor should we idolize it. Consider milk as part of a varied, rich diet that is adjusted according to your own physical condition. Instead of following attractive advertisements, take a few minutes to carefully read the ingredients on the milk carton. Look for a type that is low in sugar, low in saturated fat, and has no artificial flavors. If possible, consult a doctor or nutritionist, especially if you have an underlying medical condition such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol. And if you feel tired or have problems with digestion, sleep, or mood after drinking milk, try changing the type of milk, the time you drink it, or even stopping it to see the difference. You see, what seems like a simple glass of milk can affect many aspects of your old age life. But fortunately, all mistakes can be corrected, as long as we are smart enough to recognize and patient enough to change. And if you are wondering, so what is the right and healthiest way to drink milk for the elderly like us? That will be what I want to share with you in the last part of this story. Drinking milk the right way, a small choice, a big difference. Many people ask me, now I know, milk can be good or bad. So should I continue drinking it? And if I do, how can I avoid making the same mistake again? To be honest, I have asked myself that question many times, especially after a health checkup at a hospital in Sacramento 2 years ago. The doctor told me, "You have mild bone loss and need to supplement calcium and vitamin D." I went home, immediately bought a few boxes of calcium-fortified milk, and drank it regularly every day. But only a month later, I started to feel bloated, had a poor appetite, and my weight increased rapidly. At that time, I understood that milk is not the only solution to all problems. And how to drink properly is not simple. The longer I live, the more I believe that the important thing is not what to drink but to understand who I am and what my body needs. First, choose the right type of milk for your aging body. We are no longer at the age where we can eat whatever we want and drink whatever we want. The body at age 60 and above is like an old machine. It still works well, as long as we know how to take care of it and do not push it to do things beyond its capacity. If you have high blood pressure, choose non-fat, low-sodium milk. There are many types of milk specifically for seniors that have been refined to be more suitable for stable blood pressure. If you have diabetes, avoid milk with added sugar or flavoring. Instead, choose unsweetened milk, plant milk such as almond milk, unsweetened soy milk. These types of milk not only help control blood sugar better, but are also easier to digest and cause less bloating than animal milk. If you have digestive problems, a weak stomach or bloating, prioritize lactose-free milk, because this is a substance that causes indigestion in many older people. There are people who are not allergic to lactose, but their digestive system does not have enough enzymes to process it, leading to bloating, mild diarrhea, or a feeling of nausea after drinking. And if you are healthy, without any serious underlying diseases? Great. But don't be subjective because of that. Prioritize milk with a clear origin, with specific information about ingredients, calcium content, vitamin D, fat, sugar, and especially few additives or artificial flavors. I know, maybe some of you are listening to me and thinking, too difficult. I've only been used to drinking that type of milk, switching to another type probably won't get you used to it. I used to be like that too, used to the familiar sweet, fatty, and attractive taste of milk. But then one day, I decided to try a change, not for anyone, but because I wanted to live longer, live healthier, to see my grandchildren grow up, to sit and drink tea with my old friends every morning. I started drinking unsweetened almond milk in the morning, with a slice of whole wheat bread and a few slices of fruit. After just 1 week, I realized that I no longer felt heavy after meals, slept more deeply, and especially my blood sugar levels were significantly more stable. The second thing I want to emphasize is that the daily dose of milk needs to be sufficient and suitable for individual needs. Many people mistakenly believe that the more milk they drink, the better it is for their bones. But in fact, each elderly person should only drink about 1 to 2 glasses of milk per day, equivalent to about 250 to 500 milliliters, depending on their weight and nutritional needs. I once knew an old lady named Margaret in Florida. She was over 80 years old, with rosy skin, walking quickly, and everyone admired her. I asked her, "What is your secret?" She just smiled and said, "I just eat enough, drink a small glass of milk every morning, and don't try to force myself into any rigid regimen." That statement made me think a lot. Sometimes, living long and living well doesn't come from big things. It comes from balance, knowing when to eat, when to stop, when to drink, when to rest. And finally, I believe that the most important thing is not the glass of milk itself, but your entire lifestyle. Milk is just a small part of the overall health picture. Even if you drink milk properly, if you don't exercise, don't get enough sleep, and don't keep a positive spirit, your body will still quickly decline. I have a friend, David, who lives in the suburbs of Austin, Texas. He gets up at 5 a.m. every morning, walks around the small park near his house. Then, he comes home and drinks a cup of warm milk, then has a light breakfast. He says, "I don't need anything complicated. I just need each day to pass smoothly, my body is light, my mind is clear." I think we can all learn something from people like him, people who don't try to compete with youth, but learn to make peace with old age, live with it, and love it. Before ending today's story, I just want to tell you that taking care of your health in old age doesn't have to be difficult or too complicated. Sometimes, just adjusting a simple habit like drinking milk can make a big difference in your daily life. We have gone through 3 common mistakes together. One is using milk instead of a main meal without controlling overall nutrition. Second, drinking milk at the wrong time can make your body tired, disrupt sleep or digestion. And third, choosing the wrong type of milk or drinking too much without considering your actual needs. All of these things can be changed, starting today. You don't need to change your whole life. You don't need to stop drinking milk. You just need to understand better, listen to your body more carefully, and choose the way that best suits you. I know that living alone or living in old age can sometimes make you feel confused by too much advice, products, and information from all sides. But please remember, you are the one who understands your body best. Let every decision, even the smallest one, like choosing a type of milk, become an act of self-love. And if you find today's sharing useful, don't hesitate to leave a comment or tell me your experience in the comment section. Who knows, your story might help someone out there live a healthier, happier life. If you find this content valuable, please like the video, share it with your peers, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos. I will continue to share more intimate, sincere, and practical stories dedicated to souls who are living each day to the fullest at the most beautiful age of their lives. I wish you good health, peace, and find joy in every little thing every day. No matter what age you are, life still has many beautiful things waiting for you ahead. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and see you in the next video.